Mike, great to see you. Thanks for coming down to see me in the city this time. How have you been since we last met up?
Since I saw you last time, we've been trying to narrow our focus and identify one key area for us to put all of our attention to.
Awesome. So what do you think the major shift in your thinking's been?
Before, we were trying to do way too many things, and for a small to medium business, it was not achievable. So I think you helped clarify a lot for us, and it's just been dealing internally with some of the different personalities about making sure they're also on the same page.
But have you had time to implement any of those things that we talked about?
It's almost impossible to achieve things, in a month's time, but it's the change of our perspective and then identifying what is our next pathway. And so we have identified our sort of long-term plan, and to achieve that, we're obviously going to have our short to medium-term plans in place as well.
We've talked about how the thinking's changed. What does that look like?
We sort of want to focus now onto the outdoor market into the USA. And to do that, we've got many options, but we were looking at whether we can start a process of contacting, identifying potential retailers, resellers, distributors over there to take on our product.
It's great that you've narrowed down your thinking to a market and a particular customer type. What ideas have you got going at the moment in terms of how you're going to make that a reality?
Yeah, long term, we've identified attending a number of trade shows and expos over in the US next year.
I love that you are thinking of going to a trade show because that is a great way of putting your brand out into the world. The problem I see with it, though, is that if you go to a trade show looking for partners, you're inviting serendipity to provide the right partner for you, right? And when you go to the trade show, you are going to have people come up and say, Mike, I love the brand, I want to work with you. The problem with that is that people will approach you because the arrangement and your product suits them. It doesn't necessarily mean that they're the best partner for you. So I'd be flipping it around and I'd be building your strategy from now. So instead of waiting for serendipity to drop somebody in your lap and choose you, I would be thinking about what does your ideal partner or your ideal distributor look like? You know, creating a really clear avatar of that person. Let's go and have a chat about how you can use the next 9 to 12 months to really hone your strategy.
Sounds great.
This way. So we've narrowed down your strategy to one market and one product, and in the next 9 to 12 months, you're looking at taking the snakebite kit to the United States. Tell me a bit about how you're planning to do that.
Look, we've identified attending a couple of trade expos in 9 to 12 months' time, so we've got a long lead time. What do you think about this approach?
I think going to a trade show is a great idea, but the trade show is a long way in the future, right? It's 9 months away, and it's going to be a pretty big undertaking that's going to cost a lot of money. So there are two things. We want to make sure you get a great return on investment. And we also want to make sure that we don't leave it all to chance. So if you go off to a trade show and use that as a way of finding a partner, hoping somebody will just turn up and pick you, you're letting everything be dependent on serendipity when what we really want is you driving the train.
What are the touch points that we should be thinking about when we're looking at retailers to approach?
Again, this is really all about what do you want? So if you start at the top, there are lots of different kind of distributors. You could work with a distributor that only supplies one channel, or as a product specialist, so, you know, only specializes in snakebite first aid kits, for example. Or maybe it's one that works with huge chains. Does the distributor have the same values as survival? Are your teams going to be able to work well together, both in terms of the way they work and culture? So if you're a really flexible organisation and you suddenly find the distributors super process-driven, maybe that won't work for you.
How do we work out the right price to charge for our products overseas?
It's a great question. There are a few ways you can do it. The lazy way is how most people do it, where they just work out, you know, what's it going to cost to produce this product, and then they put a margin on top. And that is a really good starting point, but it's not quite enough. So let me draw something for you. So here is my model that I like to use to help people understand how to figure out what the right price is for their stuff, for their product in international markets. Up the top here, we've got cost. And to be honest, this is our baseline. This is what most people do. And if you're lazy, you'll just work out how much it costs to manufacture your thing, and then you'll put a margin on the top. That doesn't take into account, though, all the different bits and pieces and variables that come into play when you're selling overseas. So we have to work out our cost to manufacture plus our cost to sell overseas. So think things like the margin that your distributor is going to take, the margin that any retailer is going to take, The next thing is we've got to look at what the competitors are doing. Again, this is not the only thing you look at, but it's important because it'll give you a range. You can look at what other products are out there in the market, what are the things that are kind of similar to what we're selling at the moment, and what will the market bear? You know, is it $5 or $100 or somewhere in between? The third thing that we need to look at is what's the unique value proposition that you offer, and obviously with survival, you offer something really unique. It's just not any old first aid kit. It's a first aid kit which has got labeling and instructions for how to use every piece of equipment inside it, got a book that comes with it that tells you how to use it. So it's a superior product and it's got a unique value to the customer who's going to use that. So I've shared some ideas and some steps that you could take over the next 9 to 12 months to get the ball rolling. Where do you think you'll take it from here?
I think we can take action now, which is much better than us thinking of just waiting 9 or 12 months. I think we can build up some warm leads, and you've given me some great strategies, plenty of homework and lots to do. So I really appreciate your help.
Oh, it's my pleasure.